Peaceful greetings, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Lunar Lounge, where astrology meets alchemy, where the celestial becomes practical, and where we bring what is written in the stars all the way down to earth. I am Bashea Imana, your alchemist, and I am here with my celestial sister, Diana Vanessa, the astrologer and keeper of the cosmic map.
Hi, Bashea. Hi, friends.
Hi, Diana. It's always so great to be in your presence. We are gathering beneath this illuminating energy of the full moon in Aquarius, which reached its peak on July 29th, 2026 at 10:36 a.m. Eastern Time. This moon is known as the buck moon. This lunation arrives during the season where young bucks begin revealing their new velvet-covered antlers. And what a beautiful symbol that is for us, because this moon is about growth that can no longer remain hidden. It is about the visible evidence of who we are becoming. With the moon in Aquarius opposite the sun and Jupiter in Leo, we are standing between two sacred questions. Who am I becoming? And where do I truly belong? Leo reminds us to honor our joy, creativity, courage, leadership, and individual light. And I love Leo. My daughter's a Leo, and I've got a Leo moon. And Aquarius reminds us that our gifts are not only for us. They are meant to contribute to something greater, to our families, our communities, our movements, and the future we are helping to build. This full moon, carries a deeper intensity. The moon is closely aligned with Pluto, revealing buried emotions, outdated identities, maybe some power dynamics, and patterns that may have quietly taken up too much space in our lives. This is a moon of truth, transformation, and liberation. It asks us to consider where we have been shrinking to belong, overextended to feel needed, or continuing to carry structures that no longer carry us. So take a breath. Open your heart and your mind. Allow yourself to imagine a life in which you do not have to abandon yourself in order to be loved, accepted, or connected. Welcome to the Lunar Lounge. Let's go to the moon.
Welcome to the Lunar Lounge, where the night slows down for you. Celestial rhythms moving, every breath aligns the truth. Astrology meets alchemy, stars whisper what to do. Come sit beneath the moonlight, let the magic carry you. Aligning with the stars, aligning with the stars, moon magic.
Lunar Lounge. All right, and welcome back, beautiful people. Are you ready to be teleported into the studio? All right, well, without further ado, let us go to Diana, where she will take us into the stars. All right, beautiful people, the magic has happened and we are here in the studio. So welcome. And Diana, I have said my part. It is time for you to share with us what's happening in the stars.
Bashea, before we get into the actual chart, I thought it would be good for us to check in on our observations of what we have been feeling and sensing from the new moon in Cancer and the Mercury retrograde that was also happening in Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
because Mercury is now direct
Mm-hmm.
and is starting to pick up speed and move forward again. We talked about looking at the ways that we were seeing home as being beyond just our physical location and more into ourselves and in our bodies, looking at ways we're mothering ourselves, looking at ways to protect our softness,
Mm-hmm.
and how we're protecting our sense of home.
Right.
So now that we are largely out of the Mercury retrograde, Mercury is going to be fully out of retrograde terrain next week on the 6th. What is one takeaway from that?
Ooh, it might be hard to share just one. One of the big things that came out of that new moon was being putting myself in a place where I was ready to release the identity of the woman who must always be strong, available, productive, and indispensable.
Mm,
Like everything is not urgent.
yeah.
And being able to discern the difference. Another big thing that came, especially around the concept of mothering myself, was really paying close attention to what my health and what my body
Mm-hmm.
needed.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to acknowledge that I needed more rest, more sleep, more nourishment. I needed to care for my nervous system. And honoring that before I expected anyone else to be softer with me or for me to show up softer, I have to show up softer for myself. And so I think that that was one of the biggest takeaways, starting with listening to myself, paying close attention. And it was a lot of release for me. And a lot of the release was things that I was dealing with internally,
Mm-hmm.
like how I identified myself,
Yeah.
being able to release urgency, even in somewhat urgent moments. So, yeah, what about for you?
Very similar. I'm grateful for the guidance that you shared. I listened to your new moon in Cancer meditation several times over the last few weeks. I sat with the journal and my workbook. I'm happy that I followed through on the message that I received mid retrograde about asking for more help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, I did ask for help. And the day that Mercury stationed direct in Cancer, that help started to come in.
Yeah.
My journal saw the entries on that day from just my reflection of just how awesome it felt to see the help show up and to see my home become more beautified. Literally, like my physical home. It's also a representation of my inner self.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Like you said, I have so many takeaways from the feelings and the messages that came in with the new moon, with this retrograde. The other piece of it was that I have more respect for being still. I'm
Mm.
so used to when I get worried about certain things, stepping in and taking action and taking charge and doing it in a way where I can control the outcome. Part of the messaging that I was receiving from the journaling work and from what was coming in was to be still and to just not let it stress me out,
Right.
speak less, pray more,
Come
sleep
on.
more,
Right. Right.
take better care of my body again. And so that stillness really helped me a lot. Well, I hate to say it this way, but I still find myself surprised by what comes in when I'm not doing anything.
Come on. I totally get that. And that's where we probably get that be still and know, right? It's
Yeah,
that stillness where spirit is allowed to come in and take over and take care. And spirit does such a better job than we can do, right?
that's 100%.
Yeah.
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 And so what I love about this is for me, the takeaway is to just keep doing it, keep getting more comfortable with asking for help, get
Hmm.
more comfortable with doing less and being still.
And that's so hard for us Capricorns.
Yeah,
The
it is.
getting help and to be still and do less. That's like,
I never imagined like the hard work in this stage of my life would be learning how to do less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's funny,
So,
but so true.
yep. So we have Mercury moving direct in Cancer now. We've received messages concerning home, family, and security.
Right.
We saw some of our emotional patterns that have become easier for us to give names to.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, many of us are resolving communication issues that came in during the retrograde within our home or families.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at the full moon in Aquarius, and we're recording a few days after the full moon. I like to share my observations of what I see happening for myself
Okay.
and for others who I am working with. And so I really appreciate the fact that I've had a couple of extra days to really sit back with this full moon in Aquarius. It came in big and bright on Wednesday, July 29th at 10:36 a.m. We
Mm-hmm.
have the sun here in the sign of
Yeah.
Leo. Remember that the sun in astrology has many meanings, but some of the things that we can look for when we look at the sun include purpose, conscious direction, or awareness. When we're working with Leo, the central plot line of the sun has to do with themes around the
Oh
physical
no.
heart, the metaphorical heart, creativity, courage, leadership,
Uh-huh.
visibility. Anything else about Leo that I haven't mentioned yet that you would share?
Those are all the ones that come to the top of my head, and yeah,
Leos are typically here to be witnessed.
needing a little bit of attention.
Yep, need a little bit of attention because Leo has a beautiful gift and a beautiful light that is meant to be seen and that is meant to be
Right.
shared, right?
Right.
What's interesting because people assume that Leo expression always wants to have all eyes on them. When you meet different Leos and talk to people with different Leo placements, we often find that there's a story too around them having to develop courage
Yes.
around being witnessed by
Yeah.
others.
Yes. My daughter's a Leo sun and a Leo moon.
Mhm.
And I'm also a Leo moon, and that resonates with us. Having the courage, having gifts, but having the courage. But I also find that Leos are the most caring and loving, and also help bring other people into their spotlight and allow them to shine. It's like they can give others the courage, but it's also something that they're working on themselves.
I've found that with Leos, the Leos in my life have always been very encouraging and
Hmm.
very supportive and uplifting. So that resonates with me deeply. We've got the plot line of the sun here. It's to do Leo things. It's to be seen. It's to be witnessed. It's to be brave. It's to be visible. It's to express something creatively that is just uniquely solar and magnetic. And then
Hmm.
across the way here, we have the moon in Aquarius. The moon in astrology represents our emotional needs, it represents our habits and our instinctual responses. The moon also represents our environments or the environments that we tend to be oriented to. And
Hmm.
so when the moon is in Aquarius, we tend to be oriented to Aquarius expressions. So these are groups,
Right.
networks, communities are something we hear a lot with Aquarius.
Hmm.
Technology, innovation. We want to be in places where we can share ideas. Aquarius is an air sign. We tend to be oriented to the environment where we're around people who think like us.
Right.
Okay. And so Aquarius also is pretty good at seeing the patterns of a system from the outside. This axis of Leo and Aquarius is a beautiful one because it is the axis of creativity. This is a full moon. We're looking at what is the push and the pull because we've got the sun and the moon at opposite poles. We've
Right.
got Leo, the star, the soloist, the leader, and then we've got Aquarius, which is the choir, the group, the network, the collective. For some people, this tension may have shown up in different ways, and that's going to play out depending on what you have in the Leo and the Aquarius areas of your chart. And it's also going to depend on where you have Leo and Aquarius. But some of the themes that I've seen around this would be like being seen versus belonging.
Mm-hmm.
So being seen, Leo, versus belonging, Aquarius. Individual authority, Leo, versus the collective needs.
Mm-hmm.
Community versus conformity.
Mm-hmm.
Self-expression versus group expectations. The first message I'm getting around this is that we're looking for freedom from expired agreements
Mm-hmm.
with people that we're in community with.
Mm-hmm.
This could be partners. This could be people we've been in community with or collectives with for a long time. The reason is because the moon here in Aquarius is closely configured to Juno, the asteroid which represents commitments, partnerships, and contracts. And then Pluto is also here, which says that we're looking at the shadow of power, or we're looking at a stripping away or shedding of certain kinds of dynamics. I'm getting like this configuration here is demanding some kind of change from agreements or contracts,
Mm-hmm.
commitments that have been restrictive
Mm-hmm.
or limiting.
The lesson here is, how do we belong to a community without shrinking, without having to pretend, without having to abandon ourselves, right? And also it forces us to think about, like when we look at our relationships, our roles, the structures that we have in our lives, can they hold who we are becoming?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then what has to shift?
Yes,
Being
absolutely.
honest about what has to shift it, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because we're dealing with a fixed axis of the chart. We're looking at Leo and Aquarius, which are both fixed signs. It suggests to me that this is long held. Like these are relationships, commitments that we've sustained for a long time. And
Right.
with the fixed signs of the zodiac, the expression can be difficult to get Leo and Aquarius to change, is what I'm trying to say. They are rooted. The fixed sign,
Mm.
Scorpio,
Oh my
Taurus,
goodness, yes. Oh my goodness,
Aquarius,
yes.
yep, and Leo. It takes a while for pressure to break what has been sustained for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering how palpable that pressure is feeling for people around really like feeling compelled to make a change that we probably have already been known that we needed to make, but just haven't done it because it hasn't been uncomfortable enough.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So this next one is, how do we connect with others without losing ourselves and our identity in the process?
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it. But then that also is asking the question, well, then where do I truly belong? Right? So if
Mhm.
I'm clear
Mhm.
about who I am,
Yes.
and when I say that, I'm always talking about like the highest version of ourselves,
Right.
right? Who we are evolving or who we are becoming, which is the highest expression of who we are. And where does that person belong? Who are my kindred spirits? Where's my clan? Um, who should I really be in community with?
And I
Mhm.
love what you had said earlier, which is that we know when we're in the right spaces when we feel comfortable to be fully ourselves.
Yep, when we are able to just be whole, be fully ourselves.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It's fascinating because this zone of Leo has esoteric imagery associated with carrying the spotlight and
Mm.
also wearing a mask. It's almost like we wear a mask in the work that we do and we present to the world, right? It's only
Mhm.
a portion, it's only a
Mhm.
facet of who we are.
Right.
But sometimes, especially when we are seen and perceived by others, to them, that mask is who we are.
Say
That's
that last part.
when we're being perceived by others, to them, that mask that we wear, it's like part of our persona.
Yeah.
That mask becomes the entire image in their eyes.
Hmm.
I've been noticing that there are, for example, people who are influencers who are trying to change their image. Like there was one today I saw of someone who identifies as a trad wife who's now
Uh-huh.
trying to move into more of a girl boss era. And people are looking at this woman like, no, that's not who you are. I know you
Uh-huh.
as the woman doing all this funny stuff in your kitchen and making puff pastries from scratch, doing all this elaborate stuff, and now you want to tell me that you're a girl boss. And it's just fascinating because this woman is making this case for herself that she has other facets to her, but people are so used to seeing her wear the mask of the
One way, right, right. But
that,
no, the thing
yeah.
is, there's many pieces of us or parts of us, right? It was interesting because I was visiting a sister friend of mine, an incredible, incredible person, um, the other day, and she was sharing how she and a few others had thought about me, like, how does she do this, that. And in my head, I'm like, who is she talking about? And then I was like, that's because I'm dropping the ball on some other things, right? Like, while it may look to you beautiful and magical, and I get completely stressed out, I get completely overwhelmed, I drop the ball. Um, and I'm very, very much human, like,
Mhm.
um,
We are human. We make mistakes. We're
yes,
not flawless. Even though we work in healing spaces, we also have things that we're working on. And so
absolutely.
I shrink at people's projections. People look at me and they think, oh my God, she's a lawyer. She's done this. She's about to
Right,
help me fix all of my problems. And I'm like, I got problems too.
right,
I'm going to help you figure out how to help yourself. And that's pretty much all I can promise you that I can do.
right,
Yeah.
right,
I've done this to myself where I'm in communities and I feel the expectation that I'm supposed to be wearing the cape too, not just the mask, but the cape. And then I used to put it on, but I'm not doing that anymore.
good.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
like me, I'm ready to totally retire the cape. I'm ready to take off the mask. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to have good days. I'm going to have bad days. I have my strengths. I have my growth areas. And it is all of me. And it's okay.
Yeah. For the listeners, wherever you have this Leo here and Aquarius here in your birth chart is where these themes are playing out. So I want you to think about first what messages have been coming in loud and big and bright because Wednesday was the peak, right? Where in your life are you or someone you know experiencing these themes, speaking out, being courageous, showing the self more visibly, allowing the self to be perceived by others? In Aquarius, it's looking around at the environment and being like, are these my people?
Right.
Do I feel good about being myself in this space in a way that I
Mhm.
can really be myself?
Mm. Diana, you had said something, you had asked earlier about some of the themes of Leo, and one of them that did just come up to me that I don't know if you mentioned it, but joy.
Oh my God, yes. If I didn't say joy earlier, it's completely part of the package.
Yes.
Children as well.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely 100%. Leo is connected to the child, joy, fun. It's ruled by the sun, okay?
Yeah.
So this is about like the biggest light, the biggest body in our solar system.
Yeah.
Joy should be radiating at the core of each of our centers if we like to think about the sun being at the center of our
Hmm.
universe, right? Yeah,
Hmm. So
absolutely.
then if we want to look at that joy with that Leo and Aquarius axis, then what spaces, what groups, what communities do I go in and I have that joy?
Really, I love that.
Who can I be with
Who
to
can I
have
play with?
fun?
Yes,
Right.
yes. Who can I be around that's going to allow me to free to express myself? In one of our last new moon circles, we were talking about the Aquarius weird girl energy. Okay. And I am leaning into my Aquarius weird lady energy and just being myself. And it's so uncomfortable because I'm like, what are my clients going to think? But the other part of me is like, no, I am not one dimensional. I have interests that are very different and weird. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to put it out there.
Yes. And it's still all of you, but this is that wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Yep.
the wholeness. Yeah. You
Yeah.
can do the serious, I'm an attorney, I'm a da 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 side, and then I can be the quirky, weird, let's have fun, let's go
Mm-hmm.
play. Yeah. I love it. And so you should be in community with people where you don't have to shrink to
Yes.
belong, where you don't have to wear the mask, where you don't have to even overextend yourself to feel needed.
Yes.
That's another big place.
Yeah.
I realized in that Cancer new moon, one of the biggest realizations was that I was overextending myself to feel needed or overextending myself to feel worthy by others. And I realized that, especially as a life coach, no, I'm already worthy. You're already worthy. Our listeners are already worthy. And we don't have to overextend, or as many of us, especially women, have been conditioned, wear the cape to show our worthiness
Mhm.
or shrink, dim our lights in order to belong. Mm-mm.
That's another one that I've done. I've probably done that better when I think about
Mm,
how much I've dimmed my lights to make others feel comfortable about shining theirs. And that's
right.
not the way it's supposed to work.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
not. No, you're supposed to shine bright. I always say, like, you are a child of the creator, but we're all supposed to shine bright, you know? It's either nobody is special or everybody's special. Either way, you know?
right, right.
But you should not dim your light just because of others.
Speaking of everyone special, this full moon is pretty impactful for several reasons. One of them is our special friend Saturn here in the zodiac sign of Aries. Notice how Saturn has the RX
Hmm.
right here. It's hard to see, but this means that Saturn is now retrograde and is going to
Hmm.
be retrograde from now until the second week of December. And as a reminder, Saturn in astrology represents structure, boundaries, responsibility, authority, maintenance, and maturity. This is a Saturn. Thank you to Astrology by Celeste, who reminded me of this today. This is a Saturn who's in its fall, which means that it doesn't necessarily have the strength to do what Saturn likes to do best, which is to put orders and rules and form and structure in place. Why am I talking about this? I saw on threads that there has been an uptick of activity talking about the Mercury and Cancer retrograde because it was impactful for a lot of people. Folks were feeling that retrograde. And there's been an uptick in conversations around this Saturn retrograde. We shouldn't be scared of Saturn retrograde. Saturn retrograde periods give us an opportunity, if we have the opportunity, to shore up the things that we need to address in our lives that have been creating the emergency situations that you described when we talked about the new moon in Cancer. Okay. This is an opportunity for us to sit back with the real life situations that have shown up for us, especially if you have any planets or points that are close to, I would say in this case, 11 to 17 degrees of the cardinal signs: Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer. Those folks have been feeling Saturn the most. And so this is the time to restore the proverbial or the literal protection systems that you described. And that means if we've got weak structure, if we have things that are broken, this is the time to fix them because Saturn is almost halfway through Aries,
Hmm.
which means the Saturn, the planet of structured time, has literally been putting up scaffolding behind us as we're moving. And if we notice that there are things in the foundation that need to be addressed, now from now in December is the time to address them.
Mm. You said now until December?
Yeah, so we have this retrograded time for reorientation, revisiting, and review between now and December. What kinds of things have been coming up? I told you about my air conditioning unit.
Right.
It is fixed.
Yay.
We did a secondary level fix and it is working. So we're going to ride with that and we're going to see what happens. But that's just one simple example. Another thing that has been coming up, the old and obsolete things in my home. The help that I asked for has been coming in. So I am seeing changes in my physical home, which is wonderful right now because I've also got Venus in my fourth house with my moon. So I'm literally seeing the beautification of my home space. And this
Mm.
was the necessity after the repairs that Saturn was requiring. Just think about the ways in which the Saturn story is showing up. It's showing up in the Aries house. So for
Hmm.
many of us, look around in your environment because
Right.
that's going to show you where the Saturn story is showing up. Neptune is also, as a reminder, retrograde. So we're seeing with clear eyes
Hmm.
what needs to be addressed.
Oh, yeah.
The best advice that I received when I first started working with astrology is that Saturn will show up like the high school principal or the guidance counselor who says, you can't graduate until you finish all these classes.
Yep.
Yep. And
Uh,
that's how it's showing up. It's like we're starting new things, but if we're seeing failures or we're seeing things that make us stop and readjust, it's because it's not ready yet.
yeah.
And we need to make it. And we're likely being given the opportunity to make it ready, to create more support, or to build something that is actually strong enough to last.
You know, what's so interesting about this is just like earlier this week, I kept having this reoccurring dream. And in it, it was like building a building,
Hmm.
but there were these scaffolds. I was just kind of going through my dream journal as you were talking. This was showing up in my dreams.
Mm.
And what came out of journaling after I wrote my dream out was about what needed to be structured or restructured in my life. And a couple of categories came up, and they actually, for me, they align with Aries. It was restructuring the bridge between my work and my health,
Yeah.
like my responsibilities and my true capacity, my service to others and service to myself, my daily life, and my closest relationships. I felt like the Saturn in Aries was asking me, where do I need stronger boundaries? What responsibilities are truly mine?
Hmm.
Where do I need disciplined self leadership? Right? What must become more sustainable in my life? And what can no longer be built around over functioning?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the other thing is you're talking about you're fixing things up in the house and you're looking at your environment. And that's what I've been doing every day, spending hours just not to the point where it's like overwhelming and taxing, but one of my mottos is little by little, the bird builds its nest. So I've created all kinds of step by step checklists and plans on how to organize and clean each
Little by
space in my house and in my workspace.
little by little, the bird
The bird builds its nest.
builds.
Uh-huh. And I've just been doing it little by little.
Good.
Just going through that checklist, having music on that I enjoy. I've had to set my timer on my phone so that I make sure that I take breaks because I sometimes have a tendency to like hyper focus on things and then I don't get the rest that I need. But it'll just be like, okay, I'm gonna go hard for 25 minutes, 35 minutes, and then I'm gonna take a 5, 10 minute break. But I see things shifting. And I know that when you were talking about your AC being broken, and there was a couple other things, and I was telling you that there were things broken in my house, and those little by little are getting fixed as well. And so this is where you see that what is actually happening in astrology is so real and is happening in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not happenstance.
It's not happenstance. And it's just like, it really does feel like magic in a way when you're
Mhm.
just like sitting back and you're like, oh, this is what happens. Like when Mercury stationed direct. that was the day that someone showed up at my doorstep and started fixing things in my home. Like it's
Yeah.
after I asked for help, it was hard, but I reminded myself just continue to be still, receive, and just be grateful. And so that's what I've been practicing. The energetic output is so much better. I'm not stressing or straining myself. That's what I mean when I say it feels like magic.
And when you said feels like magic, what came to me is this is the alchemy of alignment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we are in alignment, this is what happens. Yeah.
I latched on to you talking about rest earlier. We are under the light of a waning moon. And
Hmm.
so we've got this full moon that's dimming in light. We're seeing the messages, we're seeing their application to different parts of our life right now. And we are preparing for a super new moon
Hmm.
in Leo on the 12th of August, which is connected to eclipse season.
Yes.
According to many astrologers, we're already in eclipse window. What does that mean for us? Eclipses happen when a new moon or a full moon occurs close to them. And they're connected to the lunar nodes. The
Hmm.
nodes are not planets or physical objects. They're mathematical points where the moon's orbit crosses the sun's path across what's called the ecliptic. Okay. So the eclipses happen when a full moon or new moon occurs close to them. The nodes operate as opposite lunar pairs and they move in 18-month storylines. So for the last 18 months, they've been moving through Pisces and Virgo. And as of last week, these nodes have since settled into Aquarius. This is the North Node here in Aquarius. And the South Node is in Leo. A simple way to say it is like the nodes show us for 18 months where life is like amplifying the volume, and also at the same time the other area of life where it may be turning it down. Another way to look at it is that the North Node typically represents an area of increase where we have more of an appetite for more of the thing that the North Node represents. It also represents unfamiliar growth. It's an area that we may not necessarily be familiar with. On the other side, we have the South Node, which is said to represent release or completion or depletion or liberation from something that we're familiar with. The North Node tends to bring opportunity, it can also bring excess. The South Node can bring loss, but it also represents mastery or skill being released. So, part of the work is developing your North Node without becoming overly consumed by it, and then releasing the things represented by the South Node without disregarding everything that it's taught us. With the North Node in Aquarius, we may see this show up and manifest as an increased focus on groups, and increased focus on communities and networks, technology, collective movements. Aquarius is the sign of the people. If Leo is about the leaders, the monarchy, Aquarius tends to be about the people, the group. We've already been doing this power of the people story because we've had Pluto here in Aquarius since 2024. If you agree that we're already in eclipse season, I want to encourage us to look at this next 2 weeks as an opportunity to observe, integrate, release, rest, that
Hmm.
you may not necessarily want to be doing too much because eclipse seasons are said to bring fated events in our lives that are totally outside of our control.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So it's almost like don't kick against the pricks or fight against the current. The current is saying the moon is waning unless you have particular circumstances which are compelling you to do the most. This would be a time to really just be sitting back. I'm about to be this little bird building my nest, just working, clearing the things that I can
Right.
clear right now.
Right.
Yeah. Any questions on that before we shift into just a couple of planet updates?
No, no.
Okay. Venus right now is moving through Virgo. Venus in Virgo has been that beautiful practical friend who has been lending us all kinds of helpful support, good strategy, amazing wellness tips and advice. Venus in Virgo is also just separating from that square, the tension with Mars. So for me, that tension with Mars has been coming up as lots of activity, lots of messages from people, lots of demands for attention of my time, especially from my kids. Okay. And so Venus is freeing herself from that tension with Mars and is going to move into Libra on August 6th and will be in Libra for quite some time because Venus will also retrograde and is going to roll back into Libra. Venus is in home territory when Venus is in Libra. The potential of Venus in Libra is good for working with bridging relationships wherever you have Libra in your chart. It's good for diplomacy, mediation, repair, beauty and creativity, pleasure. I'm looking forward to drawing in some good social connections and conversations with Venus being in Libra, where Venus will be in my chart. And also great for restoring balance. So that's how I would be working with Venus while Venus is moving through Libra.
Nice.
On August 9th, Mercury, it's felt like Mercury has been in Cancer for what's been forever. Mercury is going to leave Cancer. We're going to finish integrating those messages that we've been feeling. Mercury's going to move into Leo, where Mercury was probably tend to be a little bit more boisterous in Mercury's expression, because Mercury is going to be joining up with this Jupiter and Sun party in Leo. So there are going to be more messages connected to what's happening in the Leo area of our charts. So watch out for that.
Okay.
You can see more conversations around visibility and leadership, leaders transitioning. Solar eclipses like this are often connected with the departure of old leaders, maybe connected to things related to hearts.
What do you mean by connected to things related to hearts?
Leo is connected to the heart and the spine.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
one of the tells of working with Leo placements and Leo people is to see how and whether the heart is open or whether it's closed. People
Mm-hmm.
who are struggling with ego, pride, or hard heart will typically experience more medical situations with the heart or the spine during this time.
Okay. Okay.
And if it's not physical ailments, it will show up in their behaviors. For
Mm-hmm.
example, my father is part of the Pluto in Leo generation. I call them the because I told you so generation.
Yeah,
They're the old school Leo authority. Everyone followed the leader, the pastor, the politician, and everyone else fell in line.
that's right.
And the reason why was because they told you so.
So told so.
And so that generation, they came up in a society which was very much we do what the boss or the authority tells us to do, no question.
Yeah,
The younger gens are like, absolutely not. If you're
that
not
ain't
showing
happening.
up, I'm not doing what you want me to do what you're doing, but you're not doing it. No.
Right. Uh-uh.
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 But my dad has expressed more interest in spending time with his grandkids. And
Oh.
he's Pluto and Leo. And we talked about children and joy. And he's like, I just want to talk to them. And they used to come and sleep at my house. And now they don't do that anymore. And I was like, well, Dad, you have to get with the program with these kids
Mm-hmm.
and figure out what they're interested in and
Right.
engage with them that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting because I'm noticing in that generation, their hearts opening. And so that's something to pay attention to. And it's not just the Pluto and Leo generation, it's also people who have strong Leo placements in their chart or things
Got
connected to Leo. So Mercury is going to show us messages connected to hearts, heart openings, heart closings. And we can see more creative announcements from people about projects they're working on. And I think Mercury being in Leo is going to really amplify this desire to express ourselves.
Right now, you're just talking about some of my life, some announcements, some a lot of things.
I love it. The last planet I wanted to touch on for today is Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Mars is currently here in Gemini. And Mars is going to move out of Gemini and into Cancer on August 11th. Mars is focused on protecting its territory and its boundaries. Mars is a planet associated with cutting, severing, ending things. And so I'm wondering if when Mars moves into Cancer, it's going to be cutting and severing some of these family ties or some of these
Mhm.
old obligations that we're committed to ending or shifting after this Mercury retrograde. I want us to think about working with Mars to make some significant shifts in terms of cutting away what we don't need anymore, and also standing on keeping and maintaining our boundaries when
That's right.
we say we're going to do certain things.
That's right.
Yep, we're going to have the super new moon, which is this total solar eclipse in Leo on the 12th of the month, which is going to be a pretty big reset around heart, creativity, leadership, visibility, identity. And so now is a time for rest and preparation.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Diana. This has just been incredible. And I'm hoping that all of our listeners who are tuned in will take that time to rest.
Yeah.
Look at the structures in their life, see what is working, what is not working, and be prepared. Be okay with cutting away those things that no longer serve you.
Right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Amen.
And I would say too, Diana, if they need help and they want to look at it, how it looks in your chart, just another reminder for them to do a discovery call with you or to sign up and go ahead and have a full reading. It has changed my life so much. I have seen countless women who are in our circles who have gone and they're like, wait a second, Diana just completely changed my whole life. Like her readings, I've never experienced anything like that. Please, if you are listening and something is calling you to shift, to change, to move in alignment so that you can see the alchemy happening, so that you can really witness the magic, then go ahead and make that discovery call. Go ahead and sign up. Go ahead and just subscribe to her newsletter, Diana's newsletter. Yeah, it's great stuff.
Instead of crying, I'm just going to say thank you very much. I received that with so much gladness and
Yeah,
gratitude.
thanks.
I am happy. I look forward to discovery calls. Thank you, Bashea.
As we close, remember the message of this Aquarius full moon. You belong wherever you are free to remain whole. May you release the roles, relationships, thought patterns, and structures that require you to shrink, perform, overfunction, or abandon yourself. May you have the courage to honor who you are becoming, and may you find communities capable of meeting you there. Take some time to reflect on this question. What am I ready to release so that I can make room for a more authentic, peaceful, and liberated life? Share your answer with us in the comments. And please support the Lunar Lounge by liking, commenting, subscribing, and turning on your notifications, and sharing this episode with someone or someones who need this message. You can connect with me, Bashea Imana, through the Umoja Well, on Instagram at the Umoja Well, and on Facebook and YouTube at the Umoja Well. You can also visit theumojawell.com or email me at iamtheumojawell.com. You can also email me directly at iam@theumojawell.com. Connect with Diana Vanessa at dianavanessa.com. You can email her at diana@dianavanessa.com or follow at dianavanessa_MBA on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube. Please, I beg of you, make sure you subscribe to her newsletter and go ahead and sign up for that 15 minutes discovery call with her. I will tell you, you will be happy you did. Until next time, stay truthful, stay open, stay free, what is revealed in truth can become the road to your liberation. Peace.